What's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 here of the Step Back Podcast. As always, your host, Rob Aguirre, alongside me, Marlyn Taylor and Matthew Joseph Choder. What is the word today, Marlyn?
What's up? I was looking through the 80s players to see who I should draft, and I forgot I had some recipes open. Do you think what do you think sounds better? Garlic butter steak bites or creamy chicken marsala?
The creamy chicken.
I'm gonna go with the steak bites.
Garlic butter. Honestly, I was thinking about this yesterday. What gets you is the hella adjectives that people add to foods.
That is a fact.
We were at this place and they had when you hear it, it sounds better than it probably tastes. But it was smoked Gouda bacon. Hold on. Smoked Gouda bacon mac and cheese bites. I'm like, hella adjectives.
You tried it?
It sounds fire.
It was just like a ball of mac and cheese with a little bit of bacon in it.
So they as you said, they overhyped it with the adjectives.
Honey butter chicken biscuit. Don't that sound hella good?
It does. How about today? Well, Easy Peasy over there in EC, right?
Oh yeah.
So I got something from there today. Like, I was just scrolling on Facebook and they put a story up on Facebook, and it was an Italian beef grilled cheese. Bro, that shit looked good. So I hit up my mom. I texted my mom and I'm like, Mom, can you go get me this? I sent it to her and she was like, okay, like, what time are you gonna be home? I was like, I'll probably get home around like 4:30 or 5. She went and got it. I just finished eating that. That shit was fire, bro. It's funny because literally last week on the episode, you were talking about how much I love Italian beef.
You really do.
But dude, on a grilled cheese, like, that's something you never think of.
Describe it.
Describe it.
Grilled cheese with Italian beef meat in it?
Yeah, with giardiniera, some mozzarella cheese, and then like they like toasted it, obviously, like a grilled cheese, and then they pressed it down. I don't know what a spatula. They pressed it down in there, and then they put some Parmesan cheese around it, like to coat it.
Ooh, that sounds fire.
Dude, I couldn't even finish it, bro. It was so filling. It was so filling. I mean, it was probably like this big.
I have to go get one of those.
The flavor. Was it better than like just a normal Italian beef or the combo?
I wouldn't say that. It was, I don't know. I still like, just I don't know if the aesthetic is the right word, but I really like, just an Italian beef. Yeah, yeah. But this was good. I mean, I might make this myself. It's just like a grilled cheese, but you throw
the normal like French roll that Italian beefs are usually on.
No, it was maybe more so like French bread. Kind of something like that. It was real thick.
Was it expensive?
I have no idea.
Your mom got it?
Yeah, she just bought it. She owed me yesterday. Yesterday I bought her dinner, so she was like, "I got you next." Yeah, I got yesterday. We had Five Guys. Five Guys expensive.
I had Five Guys yesterday too, bro. $30 for 2 burgers, 2 shakes, and a fry. That's ridiculous.
My roommate, one time we went out for our cheat day. It was his cheat day. I just be eating all I want.
Yeah.
I just went with him, and we got our burgers, and they messed up my shake. So I went back to get my shake, and he took I came back and there was a bite taken out of my burger.
Damn.
And he was like, "My bad, bro. I thought it was mine."
He didn't even look.
I was genuinely mad too because the burgers are big, but like I need every bite. I need every bite to feel.
Taking away that one bite, like
that one bite is tipped the scale, bro. I was still hungry after.
Give or take, like what percentage? How big was that bite?
It was a pretty good size bite. It wasn't ridiculous, but like it was a bite.
Hold up. I have a question. So did you guys ever see Nes Declassified?
I used to watch some.
Do you remember that one dude who was in the show? They called him One Bite because he would go around to people's lunches and take one bite of their food, but it was a massive bite.
It was super dramatic every time he popped up in the
Dude,
show.
I'm saying, like, say it was like this big, right? Say this is like a burger right here. He would eat like this much of it. And it was huge. And I remember they had this huge diabolical plan of getting him to stop taking one
bite.
Yeah, to get him to stop biting. They made a sandwich, but it was hella spicy. It was way too spicy.
Was it a real guy who was really biting it?
Yeah, they called him One Bite. I didn't hear you.
What I'm saying. So did they actually show him take the bite, or did you just see the bite taken?
I think that they over exaggerated it. Like he took the bite, but then like they did like TV editing to make it look bigger.
Oh, okay. I was about to say that they just got somebody
actor.
Like that's more impressive. Like that's more impressive than his acting ability.
Like that video you sent with the lady biting that huge sandwich. She had like anaconda flexibility of her jaws there.
I wish, like, I mean, because I like to eat, but I got a little mouth. And ever since I got braces, you know, like my mouth feels bigger, but my jaw capability has shrunken. So
declined.
Yeah, so now it's like hard to eat, like, you know, sandwiches or whatever. But
you can hella savor your food, but
I savor my food regardless. Usually by the time I'm done eating, my food's cold.
You are a pretty efficient eater. Well, not efficient, but like you
I love to enjoy my food.
Because when I eat with you, I'm always hella like sad afterwards because I'm done, but I'm still hungry,
and I'm like halfway. I love to eat slow. Like I love to sit there and enjoy my food. But yeah, man, if you get a chance, you got to go to Easy Peasy. You got to get that. You got to get that Italian beef grilled cheese. I never thought like two types of sandwiches of total different spectrums could come together and morph something amazing. It was beautiful. But if you guys may have noticed,
you should be a food critic.
Me and Marlyn could definitely do something like that. For how much we go out to eat, I feel like we can kind of keep up with and compete with Barstool, how they try pizzas. We can go around and like try burgers or like beefs from different places and be hella critical about if they're good or not.
That would be a better show.
Huh?
You're on just try hella cuts of steak.
That's an expensive show. That's an expensive ass show.
I swear to God. We'll wag you every week.
And we're not sponsored. We just do it.
Like steak. There's a limit. We just spend all the money.
And it doesn't get
hella production cost.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm wearing a Bears jersey because the NFL draft is tomorrow. I really hope that Ryan Pace don't mess it up again. He's pretty known for that. We actually have a first round pick this year, so I don't know. I hope we trade up to get Justin Fields. I'd love to get him, or maybe he falls to 20, but I doubt it. But we need to do something because if Andy Dalton's my quarterback for like this entire season, I don't know what I'll do with myself. I hate that man. I hate him more than anything. I've hated him since he came into the league, and now I have to cheer for him. It was a nightmare. I was literally sleeping, so I was taking a nap upstairs, and I literally
had a nightmare.
Oh, I thought I was still dreaming when I woke up and saw that we signed Andy Dalton. Like it was literally a nightmare. It was like on some Freddy Krueger type shit. And like I woke up and saw it, and I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back to sleep. This can't be real. I woke up, my phone was blown up. Andy Dalton's a bear. Andy Dalton's a bear. It's like, dude, oh my God. My dad called me talking shit. He was like, man, I know how much you love Andy Dalton. I was like, dude, don't start. Do not start right now. Like, it was such a horrible, horrible feeling. But, you know, they could turn it all around tomorrow. Hopefully we get someone good. I mean, you know, the Bulls, they finally started turning around. They got a good first round pick this year. AK, he was able to do that and, you know, hopefully start something new for the Bulls. But going from there, we're going to go to basketball now. For what the show is all about here at the Step Back. We got two segments today. The first one is what I actually talked about last week. But we added some little spectrums to what we're going to talk about. We're going to build the perfect NBA player, but the catch is from the players that we're picking from, none of them could have been an all-star in their entire career. So I feel like that makes it a lot harder to build a perfect player.
This is of current players, right?
Yeah, all current players. So this is something that could definitely be fun for all of us as well. We have different categories. I'll name them here. So we're starting with height, and then you have IQ, passing, shooting, playmaking, interior defense, perimeter defense, finishing, and athleticism. So I'll have Choder start this one out, and we'll start this out with height and why you picked it.
Oh, so we're going to go one category at a time?
Yeah.
Cool. So at least for my like perfect player or whatever you want to call it, I wanted to go with like a bigger guard. That's what I was kind of building because that's kind of where the league's going. So I picked the size 6'7" because I think that's a pretty good height. It's not like too tall where it's like awkward to be running up the ball, but it's like you're not like short. Like you can still play defense in multiple positions and stuff. So that's kind of why I went with 6'7". I think it's a pretty solid height for a guard.
I'm not mad at that. What about you, Marlon?
Same thing.
6'7".
Because when you start getting 6'10" and above, then it starts getting like people start getting a little awkward. Like there's not a lot of KDs out there who are 6'10", but also very athletic and well proportioned and coordinated. So I think that's a good height. 6'8", 6'8", 6'7", same thing pretty much.
So I went a little bit taller than you guys. I went with 6'9". I think that, you know, when you look at the some great players, like you said, you mentioned Kevin Durant, who is actually 7 foot now. But if you noticed recently, they've actually started listing LeBron at 6'9", and he's been the epitome of greatness for a very long time. So I'm going to go with a 6'9" height for my player. Next, we're going to go on to IQ. Which player have you selected?
We're going to just same order.
Yeah, don't matter.
So I had 2 guys here. My first one I feel like is pretty good, but he's kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to trust my gut. I'm going to go with JJ Redick. And the reason I picked this is because I follow him and I obviously like his podcast and stuff. Anytime he gets to talking, and I'm sure there's plenty of players that can like, you know, do what he does on his podcast as far as breaking like these sets down and like talking about different actions and stuff like that. But most of those guys that have a high IQ are all-stars. So I actually just went with JJ Redick, kind of just off of fan bias type of thing. But yeah.
I think he's someone who's also like, I wouldn't ever say he was kind of, you know, maybe a couple seasons he could have been a borderline all-star, but his IQ, especially playing 4 years under Coach K, I think that's actually like a really good pick. It's not who I selected, but I'm not mad at that at all. I think he does have a fantastic IQ. I listen to his podcast as well.
Who'd you pick, Rob?
I went with Ricky Rubio.
Solid.
He's a, you know, whatever. I think he actually came in the league with Steph, so like a 13-year vet, 13-year vet. And everyone talks about how smart he is as a basketball player. Was been the leader for the Spain national team for many, many years. D'Angelo Russell actually called him the best point guard he's ever played with. He was wrong, but he said it. So I actually think Ricky Rubio's a genius on the basketball court. I just don't like that he smiles when he plays. It kind of creeps me out. But everything else about Ricky Rubio just screams an intelligent basketball player. What you got?
This one was kind of tough because, you know, high IQ players usually perform well enough to be all-stars.
Yeah.
Like even if not consistent all-stars, like a Rondo, he's a high IQ player, but he's been an all-star before, but he's not like a, what do you call it, consistent all-star.
Yeah.
It was kind of tough picking it, but as I went through the rosters, I'm gonna go with a young guy and John Morant.
Okay.
Because I think he has a really good effect on the game, and like we even seen in college, it wasn't always about him just getting assists. It was about making the right play beforehand, or you know, leading the offense. Hold on 1 second. Leading the offense and just making everything go together, right? So I'd say John Morant.
I'm not mad at that one at all either. I mean, as you said, like, you know, right now we're looking at him on the Grizzlies. He's leading that team. Everything he's doing with the Grizzlies right now is just fantastic, and especially for him being such a young player, only 21 years old. Or is he 22 yet? One of the 21, 22 years old. He's a great, great leader. I'm not mad at that one at all. Next, we're gonna go passing. Charter, what you got?
So might call me a casual because this one I'm going to go with the rookie, the guy that probably should win Rookie of the Year, but he won't. Unless I don't know, he comes back and starts killing. But I'm gonna go with LaMelo. I really like the way that he can kind of facilitate at all levels. Like, he just throws. He makes like some really tough passes look super easy, and I think there's other guys that fit the same category like Luca, but obviously he's been an all-star since his second year. But I'm just going with LaMelo because me and Marlon were kind of talking about it earlier. He can. And like his brother's up there too, but his brother's more of like a fast break like playmaker. Like he's like it's kind of hard to see him like in the half court playmaking. And LaMelo's just got more of like a feel, I feel like, because he's played basketball at so many different levels. So it's just kind of like a natural ability out of him. He could throw lobs, he could throw cross court, full court, and he just hits people right on the money. And so yeah, that's my pick.
That's actually who I took. I'm with you right there, and especially from like he's made Miles Bridges a human highlight film with the lobs that he could throw him, the full court passes you see from him as well on the Hornets. It's super exciting to see, and I've mentioned them plenty of times. The Hornets announcers are the greatest announcers in the NBA. But I really think LaMelo it's his also that has to go in with the IQ as well, but his passing is just top notch. He can make any pass he wants. It's like he sees it before it even happens. So I agree with that one 100%.
Yeah.
Marlon?
I was thinking the same thing. I will say, when you brought up Ricky Rubio, I hadn't thought about him. I think he's a really good one too. He's a really well-rounded passer. He's always up there in the assist totals.
He's such an underrated, underappreciated player. It's just he's not a flashy player, but he does everything you want a point guard to do.
Because you don't find him on like I guess he was on the Suns last year, but it's because he hasn't been like on winning teams. Like he was stuck in Minnesota, and then when he was in Utah, like obviously they were pretty good that year. But,
yeah,
I think that's why.
Yeah, so I mean that's a clean sweep of passing. LaMelo's just top notch, different level there.
Yes, sir.
We'll go with shooting now. I'll have Marlon start this one out. Who you got as your shooter for a perfect player?
This one was tough too because there's a lot of really good shooters now, and this one's really tough. You know what? So at first I had Joe Harris because he's just really efficient and really good. Hold on 1 second. Let me check something really quick.
I mean, Joe Harris is a killer though. Like,
yeah, it's because it's the efficiency with Joe Harris. But I almost picked CJ McCollum because of his ability to shoot off the dribble.
Yeah,
I think that's really important. But I do really like Joe Harris. I'll go CJ McCollum for his ability to shoot off the dribble.
Okay.
He makes spot up shots too. And then also I think him being taller, someone with his shooting ability but taller might be even more efficient because they can get more shots off easier.
I have a question for both of you guys on what you think. Do you think if CJ didn't play with Dame, he would be an all-star?
I think so.
Probably, especially if he's in the East.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he was in the East, he'd definitely be an all-star.
Schroeder, who you got as your shooter?
So I went with more of a catch and shoot, and I'm a huge fan of this guy. I'm going with Duncan Robinson. I love the way he's a good catch and shooter. He's kind of had to learn how to kind of take it off the dribble now and do like DHOs, like dribble handoffs with Bam, because teams have kind of figured him out. Because last year you listen to things he talks about his success last year. There's like teams were just leaving him open because they didn't know like who he was. Like they didn't understand the scout because that last year was like his first like full season. I'm pretty sure. Because he was in the G League his rookie year. But yeah, his ability to just shoot and like his catch and shoots are just sometimes like when he's hot, it's ridiculous. Like he doesn't dip the ball at all, like just straight, he's really fun to watch as far as when he's rolling. But I'm gonna pick him kind of a I don't know. I don't want to say basic, but I just think it's a good pick.
He's a killer. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league.
Yeah,
Duncan's great.
shooting year.
He was up there with me, but I actually, the show's been going on, I've actually kind of thought more and more names have come to my head. So I'm actually gonna switch my pick from what I had. I did have Duncan, but I'm actually gonna go with Gary Trent Jr. He's turned into such an amazing shooter this season. He's gonna get a bag this offseason. That dude is gonna get such a fat bag this offseason. I mean, you saw what he did for the Raptors right after he got traded up there to Toronto. He's just been playing at another level. And I think off the dribble, his catch and shoot, everything is just absolutely perfect. He's up there in every shooting category almost for 3-pointer. So I'm going to go with Gary Trent. Next, we're going to go with playmaking. I'll start this one out. I'm actually going to go with CJ McCollum here because of what you said, Marlon, with his dribble package as well as how he can dribble off, shoot off the dribble. I mean, CJ McCollum's up there with the best in the league, and I think it's crazy that he hasn't been an all-star, but it's really only because he's in the West and how deep the West backcourt is. I'm going to go with CJ there as my playmaker.
Do you guys think CJ is the best non-all-star? The best guy who's never been an all-star in the league?
Yes, but there's very, very close seconds.
Who?
I'm going to go with Shea.
Shay's up there.
And I'm also going to throw Ja in there.
Yeah.
I think I feel like De'Aaron Fox needs a little more love.
I definitely forgot about De'Aaron Fox, so he's definitely in there too. A lot of guards, and they're all in the West.
Yeah.
So with playmaking,
playmaking.
I do like your pick with CJ, but I think he's not as much of a passer as I would like, even though he can create. But I mean, if you can create your own shot pretty well, then you don't really need to pass as much. Because if you can create your own shot, you don't need to create a shot for somebody else. But I probably go with Ja because I think he can do both pretty well. Now he hasn't been shooting well this season, but he still is a pretty good scorer, and he can create his own shot pretty well. But I think his ability to create shots for other people is really good too.
Yeah,
really good ball handling too, and he actually cooked CJ the other day.
He did. Ja's been playing on another level these last 5 games too, man. Mm-hmm. I think he's been averaging like around 27, 28 a game or something like that.
Fantasy team.
We're playing each other this week too in the playoffs.
I got to buy.
My guy is in.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I'm not gonna. Wow, I just stuttered hella hard. I'm gonna just say CJ McCollum because that was like the first person that came to mind. Because we have passing and we have playmaking. So like passing, I picked LaMelo, but I think so that kind of Marlon said he'd like someone that does a little more passing, and I was like, well, I already picked that category, so I just said CJ because he's able just to he's able to kill. He could play the 2, the 1. Obviously, his ability to take it off the dribble. He can score like at almost like every level, mid-range, 3-point at the rim. So that's what I'm going to take on that one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, another name I want to throw in there. I didn't pick him. It was between 2 guys, but also Shea. Shea is a fantastic playmaker. Because when I look at playmaking, I look at passing as well, but it's also somebody who can also create their shot off the dribble and do things like that. So, and Shea's definitely up there in that category as well. We'll have Choder start out this next one. We're going to go with interior defense.
I think you told me years earlier, I think you got the best pick out of this one, but I'm going to stay true to what I thought. I'm going to go with Jarrett Allen. I think Jarrett Allen is a solid rim protector. He's had some pretty nasty blocks over his career. So, and I mean, clearly he's got a lot of value in NBA teams' eyes because Cleveland had just signed Andre Drummond to that huge deal. they let him go because they got Jarrett Allen. Like, definitely didn't, anticipate that. But I think it shows his value. So he's
another dude who's going to get a bag.
Yeah. So
he's going to get a fat bag too.
That's my pick for
who you got, Marlon?
Marlon.
I didn't have anybody picked yet, so I just went to the block leaders, and I just got to go Miles Turner.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I will say is like getting rebounds is a big part of interior defense, I think, because you're ending their possession. But somebody who can block that many shots, he still has a really big defensive impact. So I probably have to give it to Miles Turner. Just he's such a threat to block your shot in the post.
Yeah, I have Miles Turner as well. He's the best interior defender in the league. I'm gonna put him above Rudy Gobert. As just an interior defender. You mentioned rebounding. That's something that Miles Turner definitely has to work on. I think he averages less than like 7 a game, which is pretty crazy. Um, but another name that I want to throw in there that I don't think none of us mentioned him, but Clint Capella.
I was literally gonna say I want to give him honorable mention too.
Yeah, he's right up there, dude. Like I honestly think Clint Capella, if he really, really wanted to, and like set his mind on just doing that and scoring more, he could be like a 20 and like 14 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Just catching lobs. That's all he has to do. And just get putbacks. He could average 20 points a game. 18, I give him that for sure.
he might even be a better interior defender than Miles Turner because I don't know. Miles Turner just gets so many blocks though, so I don't
He's
know.
averaging like 3.5 a game.
Yeah, but his
Crazy.
he's the number one rebounder in the league though. So
Yeah. And he's not even that tall. Clint Capella's only like 6'9, 6'10.
he's tall.
I thought he was like
Yeah.
6'10.
No, I think you're tweaking on that one.
Because he's 6'10", I thought he was like 7'2". He looks long, super lanky.
Yeah. But I think I honestly there's really
wow.
he's only like 6'10, right?
Yeah.
He might have caught the worst body of the year though.
But yeah, that's what I got. We'll have Marlon start out the next one with perimeter defense.
Perimeter defense. So I tweaked because I put Drew Holiday and I didn't know he was on 13.
Me and Sheldon talked about that earlier.
Yeah,
Dude, it shouldn't even count. That's what I wanted to pick.
But I think I have a good one in Matisse Thybulle.
That is a good one.
I seen one play. I already knew he was a good perimeter defender, but I seen one play where he was guarding Kyrie, and I was like, I don't think anybody else in the league can really guard him that well. But Kyrie still made the shot, which just goes to show how good Kyrie is. But
yeah,
like he was standing in front of him actually, and I'm like, that dude's super quick on his feet, and he's a perfect fit with Philly because they just have a bunch of dogs defensively.
They're gonna get Kyle Lowry. Watch. Perimeter D. I actually picked Marcus Smart. I think his versatility is just kind of like he can guard like at least 1 through 3. Maybe depending on who he's playing, maybe even some 4. Just because he's big body, he knows how to he puts himself in good positions, and he's just like he's a dog. Like Marlon just said, like people in Philly, like they got dogs over there that play defense, and Marcus Smart's in that same group. I think, but Matisse, that was a great pick. I didn't even think about that one, but yeah, that's who I got. I got Marcus Smart.
Shout out Marcus Smart real quick. I think Marcus Smart would be a pretty good pick for IQ too. I just hadn't thought of it.
So for me, I had Marcus Smart, and I agree with everything. I had him. I want to throw a couple more names out there though, just for some honorable mentions because I do think Marcus Smart is up there. But I saw Matisse Thybulle. I just ended up not going with him, but because I have Marcus Smart a little bit higher just because of what he's done in career wise. Mm-hmm. But one name, OG Anunoby, absolute lockdown defender. I think that he could become a borderline all-star eventually, with how well he's progressed his game. And another guy that I want to throw out there, it's not a pretty name, but this man will pick your pocket. I'm going with Mr. TJ McConnell. That man, McConnell. That dude will steal anybody. Bro, he's insane. He didn't he have a triple. Didn't he have a triple double this year with steals?
Yeah, he did. He's one of those dudes that would he'll make you mad because he'll steal the ball from behind you when you think he's like somewhere quietly.
Yeah, he's really, really good, man. But another name that I want to throw out there as well, 2 names actually for perimeter D. I think eventually he's not there yet, but Patrick Williams. I think he could become a lockdown defender in this league. And another guy for interior defense, I actually want to throw Daniel Tice in there. Daniel Tice is actually a really, really good defender, but he doesn't get any appreciation because like he doesn't really do anything, too pretty out there, but he'll have those couple like occasional plays that are locked. I'm not saying he's Miles Turner, Clint Capella level, but just an underappreciated interior defender, Daniel Tice.
The Bulls are getting cooked right now by the Knicks.
For perimeter defense, I think is DeJounte Murray.
That's another good one too, yeah. He's gonna be an all-star next. He's gonna be an all-star in the next couple of years too, because the Spurs are gonna become his team.
Yeah, probably.
We got 2 more categories.
Oh,
Um,
there's Noel too.
yeah, but he be getting dunked on a lot though.
Yeah, but he goes up for it.
He's not scared. He ain't scared. Yeah, I got respect for that.
I think Capella got the worst body of the year with Miles Bridges. So
we got 2 categories left. We got finishing and athleticism. They are different in my opinion. We'll go with finishing first. We'll have Choder start it out.
Miles Bridges. I don't even want to evaluate on it. I think it's Miles Bridges. He's just hot, like you just said. LaMelo made him a human highlight reel, but even with LaMelo out, he's caught some bodies. So,
which one is this? Athleticism.
Finishing. I like you said athleticism too. I don't know why.
No,
I didn't pick him for.
That's why when you said
Miles. No, finishing. Yeah, just Miles Bridges. That's what I got.
Marlon.
Wait, so is this
finishing?
You got Miles Bridges for finishing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a bad pick.
Damn near. But
why? Oh.
I mean, I guess dunking is finishing too, but I'm thinking more of like a guy who can like finish, in a multitude of ways. That's why I'm going McCollum, because he's one of those guards who can finish at the rim, under the basket too. But if he's tall, then he can finish above the rim, because we're building a perfect player. So if he's 6'8", and can
McCollum would be like borderline MVP if he was 6'8".
If he was 6'8", yeah.
For my finishing, I'm going with Ja Morant.
That's a good pick.
He'll put you on a poster. He'll go up and under. He's pretty much a young Derrick Rose right now, with everything he's doing. Just absolutely ridiculous freak athlete. We've seen him already put him. I don't know how many dudes on posters.
I'll say too. That's actually a really good point that you just made about him being young D Rose, because D Rose stats were never crazy either. Like, he just had good stats.
Yeah.
But it was more so the team was winning rather than like him averaging 30 and 10 and
yeah, like his MVP season was really good, but the fact that they finished 62 and 20, that's the reason he won it.
Yeah.
Because LeBron, his season was insane.
Yeah, Ja's kind of doing that for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, but I think it's really gonna help, him getting Jaren Jackson back right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'll go with Ja right there. Another guy. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna save him for the next one. But we'll go with the last one being athleticism. We'll have Marlon start it.
Yeah, I gotta go with Miles Bridges. Yeah, he's been catching too many bodies, and they've been mad aggressive too. I just gotta like there were some honorable mentions like John Collins, and there was somebody Ja's a good one, but I gotta go with Miles Bridges.
He's insane. I mean,
this is the strength too. Like
Miles Bridges, like I'd love that dude. I actually I don't know if I like their call more for Miles Bridges or Terry. Like those dude, they're so good. I love those announcers so much. I might have to buy a league pass just for the Hornets.
If the Hornets and the Bulls play, they all gotta call the game together.
All 4 of them.
Yeah. Amin will just be throwing jokes out there the entire game.
Who is that?
The Bulls play-by-play guy, Adam Amin.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Adam. Yeah, I knew it was Adam. I didn't know his last name.
Chota, who you got?
I got De'Aaron Fox. When I was thinking of athlete, I was just thinking of how fast he is with the ball and how quick he is, and his he can even though some guys are really fast and it kind of screws them up, and sometimes they get tripped over themselves because they're just playing so quick. But De'Aaron Fox has shown this year, he can play, he just burns guys. And I've watched people talk about it, and they talk about how fast that dude is. He had a player vote where the majority voted who's the fastest with a ball, and it's De'Aaron.
That's a really good pick.
So yeah, that's kind of where I was going. But Miles Bridges was a good one too.
That's a really good pick. I just thought about it, but just imagine somebody 6'8" going that fast. You got it. Forget that.
So for mine, to wrap this one up with the athleticism, I'm actually shocked neither of you guys said his name. I'm going Anthony Edwards.
I
Just
think Miles Bridges.
like, I mean, he has the most disrespectful dunk I've ever seen. Over I don't know whose name, but when they played the Raptors, it's pretty bad when you walk away laughing at how good your poster was. But Anthony Edwards, I couldn't imagine if someone was 6'8" jumping like that. I mean 6'10", 6'10".
I think Scottie Pippen's dunk on Patrick Ewing is one of the most disrespectful dunks.
It's definitely up there. It's
just want to throw
definitely
it out there. The way he throws him down and then tells Spike Lee to sit down, like that is crazy.
He dunked on
Oh, the
team.
Sean Kemp.
Yeah, that one's good.
Wasn't there the Shaq one too, where he pushed dude off of him?
Oh, that one. It's just the dunk wasn't as good as the other ones, but yeah,
he pushed a grown man down.
And he did this too, like left his hand there for a second.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like a lot, like all three of our players could be some killers. I kind of want to like I said, put this a little bit in 2K or something.
The quickness of De'Aaron Fox is a good one because he can jump too. He be catching bodies too.
Yeah. A couple players I'm surprised that we didn't actually say. One of them be actually big Terry Rozier. I feel like we could have maybe fit Terry somewhere in there. Not sure exactly.
Because I think he's a pretty good, well-rounded player, but I think all the guys we named are like we wouldn't put him number one in IQ. We wouldn't put him number one in. But just somebody who hasn't made an All-Star team, shout him out. I mean, we could do that. But.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. I wonder how it would be if one of us actually made like a center or something, like a 7-footer, but then you have like the ball handling of like LaMelo and the shooting of Duncan Robinson. Like
I thought ball handling. Did we do ball handling?
That's where I was kind of going with like playmaking.
Oh, okay. Because I had CJ McCollum for ball handling. But...
You love CJ McCollum.
He's a great NBA player.
The only person I thought of, I was like, wow, he really wasn't an all-star.
It's crazy that he's not an all-star. It's almost disrespectful.
Yeah. I think he is the best non-all-star.
I just think his story is just dope. Like, even though he screwed up, my Dookies, but like he going to that mid-major, and then he was riding the bench his first couple years until Wesley Matthews signed with Dallas, and then he just started hooping after that, and it was dope.
Yeah, he's a killer, man. I love me some CJ McCollum. I hope that he could actually become. I hope he could become an all-star eventually. He definitely deserves it.
What was his pick, Dino?
He was picked 10th.
Oh, he was picked 10th?
I think so. I might be.
I know he was lottery, like towards the end of the lottery though.
Like 55. Yeah, he was picked 10.
Who drafted him?
Portland.
It's because there's something that said like Sacramento was going to take him 7th that year, but then they ended up going with because Ben McLemore fell, and McLemore was highly touted coming out of Kansas.
Imagine messing up that.
Tweet. The Kings have screwed up so many picks.
Yeah, they're such a horribly ran franchise. Front office down. Like free De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox deserves better. De'Aaron Fox would look very nice next to Zach LaVine. Just want to throw that out there.
There's no way they're gonna let De'Aaron Fox go.
Oh, there's no way, but when he becomes a free agent, he'll be in Chicago. So 4 years from now. 4 or 5 years from now.
Fingers crossed.
Well, we're gonna hit the second half of the episode now. We're gonna hit our draft. This is actually gonna be a continuous draft for the next couple of weeks. We're gonna start it out from when the modern NBA really started, but since it kind of like was midway through the 70s, we'll just start in the 80s. We're gonna draft a team built of players who only had just based on how they played in the 80s. It has nothing to do with how they played in the 90s or the 70s, anything like that. So that's how this draft will go. The first pick will be Marlyn. The middle pick will be Choder, and I'll have the last pick, and then we'll snake it around. Where's my pen? I think I left my pen somewhere. Oh, that's awkward. I'll just keep track on my phone.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Who's your first pick?
So with the number one pick in the 2021 1980s NBA fantasy draft, Marlon Taylor selects Michael Jordan. Now
that's a good pick.
It's funny that you say like it's a surprise. He's like, but I see why you would say it because you might think he didn't rule the '80s, but he damn near did. He just didn't. Huh?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But like, I mean, of course, the '80s didn't belong to him as far as like championship wise, but he was already one of the most popular, if not the most popular player in the world by the end of the '80s. And Larry Bird himself called him God in disguise as a basketball player. He was scoring.
That's hella praise.
In his first series against the. Now they got swept, but he was still killing. And then it was in the '80s that he won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. And he was a scoring champ a couple years, so it's.
Yeah, because and in the Last Dance they even said like he was pretty much already the best player in the league. They just he just didn't have a good enough team yet. So I think he was still the best player of the '80s. He just wasn't the face of the '80s.
Right. With the second pick, I'm gonna go with my guy Magic Johnson. The guy who he was the face of the '80s, but
I'm interested.
That first pick was good.
Who would you guys have picked if you had the first pick?
Magic. I probably would have picked that. I probably would have picked MJ too. But Magic, I mean, I don't know. Magic, I think it's just like because I feel like you had to pick Mike because you weren't gonna get him like coming back around. Like me or Rob would have picked him. Like if he would have left. He
was my third pick. He was my third pick.
You're tweaking though, but all right, yeah. I know, but we all know the top three, so
yeah. So with the third pick and my first pick, I'm going with Larry Bird. Also ruled the '80s, 3-time champ, 2-time Finals MVP and 3-time MVP. Pretty hard to go against having Larry leading your team, and now me and Choder already started a rivalry with our two teams, with him getting Magic and me taking Larry. But
what's your next one?
See, this one, I don't know. This is where I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to go in this direction or this direction. But I think I'm gonna do this, and it's crazy because you know what? Oh,
hello frustration.
I don't know if I want to go him or him. You know what? I'm gonna take him. I think his '80s was actually a little bit better than his. I'm gonna take Moses Malone. A 10-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, 24 and a half and 12 and a half. You can't go wrong having that there next to Larry Bird.
I'm gonna go with Magic sidekick. I'm gonna go with Kareem.
That's where I was half and half.
I was gonna pick the other guy. I would have picked Moses if you'd have picked Kareem. But thank you. I'll take Kareem. No problem.
I'm in a pretty good spot.
I think so too. Because I don't know who you're gonna pick actually.
Okay, can I go?
Yeah.
With the sixth pick, and then no, that's hella too much to say. I got the next pick after this too, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go with Isaiah Thomas. I want to hurry up and snag a good guard. So he's probably the second best guard. He's definitely the second best guard of the '80s. He's top 3 guard of all time.
I mean, point guard? Oh, yeah.
Top 3 point guard of all time?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Who's your top 2?
Magic and Steph.
Okay. Oh, and yeah.
Because I don't think
I don't have him above Oscar Robertson, but
Oscar Robertson's a good one, but he used to do this with one hand and then that. No, I don't like guys that play like that. I'd cook him. I was just playing.
The confidence, man.
Shot. That's so gross.
Are you not concerned with how well Isaiah would play next to MJ, considering they didn't like each other?
I'm not basing it off of that. I'm basing it off pure talent. And I think it doesn't matter. They're both competitors. So if they did play together, I don't think it would even matter. I think they'd say, forget all the problems. Let's just destroy whoever's in front of us.
Right.
And they would. they would destroy who's ever in front of them. And so with the next pick, I want to hurry up and snag a good big. And you guys took pretty much the best two bigs of the era, but I do think
I know who you're taking.
Kareem probably. Yeah, I think I already told you. Kareem probably. I think I probably would take Kareem first, but I'm gonna go with Hakeem Olajuwon. He still had a really good 80s. He came in the same year as Jordan, and I was telling you guys before how he had that series where he scored. Let me see what he averaged. This was in 1988. It was his fourth season. He averaged 37.5 points, 16.8 rebounds, 2.8 blocks, and 2.3 steals. They lost that series though, which is crazy. But for a fourth-year player, that's insane. Or just any player, that's insane to have average those for a series. So I think that kind of shows how good of a player he was already. It's just there was Larry, Magic, Jordan, the Pistons. So we never hear about Hakeem in the 80s or early 90s, but he was still probably was the best big towards the end of Kareem's career. So you just don't hear about him a lot.
Yeah. Especially in the 80s. I mean, 90s is when, Hakeem became, I don't want to say he became Hakeem, but that was when he was winning his MVPs and everything.
But I'm saying he was in the MVP race in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. I know. I know. I get what you're saying, but I'm like, that was when he started doing everything, winning titles in the 90s and everything.
That was when he really solidified himself.
Exactly.
For Jordan to leave, but yeah.
Go ahead, Matthew.
I'm stuck between two guys. I don't want to go with another big here because I feel like I could snag a quality big towards the end of my draft too. I feel like I got to go with him out of respect, but I kind of don't respect him because of what he did like this last week or two when he came out with some list. I don't want to pick him.
I don't even know.
I'm going to go with Julius Erving.
Oh.
Terrible list.
Did you see that, bro? Tweet. But, I mean, he is Dr. J. And he was pretty – I mean, his numbers weren't fantastic. Like, they were – obviously, they were good. But, like but his accolades were there. He was a champion, MVP, All-Star, 5-time All-NBA first team. I just read that off Bleacher Report. But, yeah. I'm going to go Dr. J. I think him and Magic and Kareem are a solid trio.
See, my next pick, I want a certified bucket. I already have the middle locked up. I got Larry who can go out there and do whatever he wants to do. But now I need a bucket. And I'm going with the Iceman, George Gervin.
That's who I was going to pick, too.
The 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA first team, 26 points per game. I'm going with the Iceman. And now to bounce off that, I need to come back with a guard. I don't know if that's where I kind of want to lean because he's not really necessarily a point guard. But there's two guys I'm kind of like back and forth on.
Please don't pick the guy I want.
But I think I'm gonna go him because of how great of a defender he was. I'm gonna go Sidney Moncrief. Sidney Moncrief was just a lockdown defender. You heard about it in The Last Dance of just how great he was, Defensive Player of the Year. So if he can just go out there and just lock up any team's smaller player, I'm cool with it.
He was the first Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, well, see, there you.
First time they had it.
I think so. I saw that today. I think that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
All right, so that's where I'm going.
Oh no, it's Charlie's turn.
Yeah, back to Matthew.
Who did you pick with your second pick?
Who did I pick?
To Kareem.
I picked Kareem. So I'm going with a bucket here, kind of following Rob's pathway. Let's see. He's kind of. I feel like his like prime was kind of short, but like he was like an all-star and stuff, and that's Bernard King.
Okay, yeah.
He was from all the film I've ever seen on that dude, and like people talking about him, like that dude was a problem. So, and he did have an injury like right in the middle of the 80s or towards the end of the 80s, but he was a scoring champ, Hall of Famer, All-Star. I think that's good value with the fourth pick because I kind of needed a score because I think he could shoot too. I might be wrong, but no, that's I don't know. Okay. Go ahead.
Glad you guys didn't pick this guy because I think he's a huge diamond in the rough. And I think if you really wanted a bucket, you should have picked this guy because Alex English scored almost as many points in the 80s as Kobe did in the 90s. He was like the scorer of the 80s, averaging like 27 or 28 every season. I'm going to go with Alex English. He was, I think, at small forward, he'd probably be a certified bucket.
I actually had him and I had him and Gervin like neck and neck, literally right next to each other. Their career stats are so insanely similar.
But a lot of what Iceman did was in the 70s, which is the reason I was gonna go English before Gervin.
Yeah, there's like I think it was like a separate of like I think English played 3 more seasons in the 80s than George.
Look at the 80s, like his 80s was more consistent because we seen the end of
Yeah.
career.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that one at all. Like Alex English is certified bucket.
I'm just saying that's why I think it's a better pick than Iceman.
I remember was it me
The
and
standard
you?
a better pick than my pick too.
Did we play
Yeah, it definitely
2K?
is.
Did we play 2K and I picked Alex English and he was bad?
Was
I think
it?
I think that was me.
Oh yeah, I played with Alex English and dude, his release was so bad in 2K.
It was horrible.
Yeah. Are we going with a 6-man too or no? Just 5.
There's enough for us to do a 6-man.
All right, so
we got one more round though, right?
Yeah, so this last pick will be your last starter, and then I'll bring it back, and then so we'll have everyone gets 2 more picks.
Okay, I'm also glad this guy didn't get picked because he's. Ooh, hold on though. You know what? Yeah, I gotta go with this guy. Ultimate post moves master. I got 2 of the best guys post moves in the game.
No.
McHale for my power forward. I could see why he's actually better than a lot of the guys we picked, but we wanted buckets and he's a bucket though. But
he's a bucket, but not a pretty bucket.
Yeah. People want guards, and that's why we were going for the guards and the forwards first, the wings. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with Kevin McHale to round out my starting 5.
I'm not mad at that pick either.
Nope.
Definitely a steal in the 5th.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we did kind of tweak pregame so late.
Go ahead, Charter.
1 second. I got someone in mind, but I just have to look at something real quick. All right, I'm gonna go with Karl Malone. I feel like his stats especially towards the end of the 80s were super solid. like 87, he averaged like 28 points a game. 88, he averaged 29. So I'm just kind of looking for some value. And I think he's a good 4 to put next to Kareem. But I'm gonna go with Karl Malone for my 5th pick. I got one more, right?
Yeah. So for mine here, I think I want to go. I think I want to take him here. I need a power forward, and I'm gonna go with the round mound of rebound.
That's a good one. That's who I was.
That's a great one.
I want Charles Barkley because now I already have Moses, and Moses was the one who mentored Charles when he first got drafted in Philly.
Yeah.
So he's the one who made Charles Barkley lose 50 pounds. So he's gonna stick on Charles and make sure he doesn't act up on my team. And now I got someone who can just go out and pretty much be, kind of like how Zion's playing, just grab the rebound and run down court with the ball. So I'll take that, and then I got my shooters around him. And then as my 6th man to round out the team, I want a bucket. I'm going with AD, Adrian Dantley. Certified bucket, 26.5 points per game, NBA scoring champ. And we all know what he was able to do with the bad boy Pistons when they traded for him and lead them to a championship. As their, bucket getter. So I'm going with Adrian Dantley as my 6th man.
This is me.
Yep.
Wait, who'd you just pick? You picked Adrian Dantley. My last pick, I'm gonna go with someone off my list here. Stuck between 2 guys. You guys, I think we're all pretty solid picks. I think I have the worst pick of Bernard King, but
It's a pretty bad worst pick.
No, you mean a good worst pick?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's like if that's your worst.
It's like if
pick,
that's the worst pick, I'm in a good spot.
exactly.
I just feel like
I guess that was a bad way to word
it. We're good. My bad. I'm stuck between two guys. 1 second. I'm gonna do this off stats real quick. and longevity. Like I've been looking at like how long guys dominate. Like in the 80s at least. I'm gonna go with Mark Aguirre.
Well, he's actually Mark Aguirre. I just want to throw that out there. But
I've been talking to you all day.
Thank God.
He's literally spelled the same way.
Yeah, I gotta get his jersey, and it won't even be a custom.
Yeah, that's who I got. He was a bucket, and he was like a big not a huge reason, but definitely a big reason why the Pistons like were kind of figured it out, because Adrian Dentley was on that team with the Bad Boys, and then like you watched that, you've all probably seen that thing, the Bad Boys documentary, and how like as soon as they traded AD, it was like Mark Aguirre Mark Aguirre fit right in. So I'm gonna give it to him.
Last pick here, Marlon.
I think you guys kind of tweaked, because
if it's this one guy, and if you draft him, I'll tell you why I didn't want him.
Is it the human highlight reel, Dominic Wilkins?
Yes, that's exactly who it is.
Hold on though. Let me look at something real quick. Oh, never mind. You guys kind of tweaked. Yeah, definitely gonna take him. So you thought about him and just didn't pick him?
I didn't want him, just based on the fact that obviously he was a solid like shooter and everything, but I wanted guys who could more so spread the floor. That's why I got guys like Dantley as well as Gervin, Bird. All those guys could spread the floor and shoot, and I got Moses Malone and Barkley down low, so I don't really need someone else down there or in the mid range.
I mean, he could shoot as good as them, right?
He's only a 46% from the field. Dantley and Gervin had better percentages. That's the only reason I passed on him. Yeah. Howard, I actually thought Sidney Moncrief was a little bit taller, so him being short actually helped me in my point guard spot. Sidney Moncrief was only 6'3". I thought he was like 6'5", 6'6".
No, I knew he was no taller than 6'4", because even in the game he's super short.
The one thing that's really good, the biggest mismatch here is obviously Choder having Magic at point guard.
Magic and Kareem.
So that's hard. I mean, you have the greatest, pretty much the greatest of all time, Marlon. So that's a little difficult there. All the teams are pretty well spread out. I really hope people reply back to see who wins this one. I'm not too sure. This one's really Choder. You wrote them down, so I didn't have a pen. I wasn't able to write it down.
I got it. Yeah, I got it right here.
I think we should go over it and say who, like, position for position, how we think.
We could do that.
We can do it right now.
Choder won point guard and you won shooting guard. It's pretty much after that we can talk.
Yeah, he definitely won point guard. But I will say Isaiah is a pretty good.
It was the second best choice.
It's a great pick.
Who did you have for point guard?
Mine's Sidney Moncrief. I'm just banking on defense.
Oh, he's not even really a point guard, but
Dennis Johnson would have been a good one too.
Yeah, he was more of a point guard, but I'd rather go. You guys just got to share the ball as a team.
Yeah.
But
who's your shooting guard, Rob? The Iceman?
Yeah, it was George Gervin.
Cool.
So Gervin, MJ, and who'd you have?
Was yours?
Mine?
Yeah, who was your shooting guard?
Oh, I would probably put Bernard King as my shooting guard and Julius Erving as my small forward.
Was Bernard King kind of like a power forward? Just like a scoring power forward?
I thought Bernard King was a 2. I might be totally wrong.
He played kind of like a 2 there, but I think he was a tall.
He was 6'7".
You could play him at the 2.
Yeah, you can play him at the 2. They had him small forward. Yeah,
so I mean.
Oh yeah, small forward. Okay, I guess.
I mean, Marlon won the shooting guard.
Yeah.
Small forward. I have Bird.
Yeah, but I have a bucket in Alex English. He was.
You do. I should have picked him.
Small forward is honestly the closest one that we have.
Who's yours? AD. Oh,
no, mine's Bird.
Oh yeah.
And then Choder has Dr. J.
But that was when he declined.
Yeah.
What, Dr. J?
Yeah.
Dr. J. He was scoring 20.
He's 5. What? What do you mean decline? Okay. I mean, he was older, but I wouldn't say he was declining. I mean, he was still successful.
No, the 70s is when he was in his prime. He was still good, but he wasn't back to jail like we know.
Yes.
I mean, personally, like I would say you have to go Bird in that situation just based off accolades itself.
No, it's
What, for
definitely
small
Bird.
forward? Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Power
Definitely not
forward.
arguing that.
It goes Chuck. And who do you have?
I think Karl Malone was a solid pick.
I think
I
I
think
think I might have won that one with Kevin McHale.
My only thing with
Are y'all for
Malone,
real?
my only thing with Malone is that he only played 3 years.
Yeah, he wasn't in the 80s that long, and
He
That
came
was
in he came in 86. So only 3 years. It just makes it a little bit. Obviously, in the 90s, Malone's a number 2 pick, number
yeah.
2, number 3 pick. But here, it's just
I
it's a
think
little
it's
bit
fine. I
hard.
think his 3 years in the 80s was pretty solid. Like,
Well, how good were the Jazz teams?
I guess
That's
I don't know.
another big
I mean,
factor.
the Iceman's teams weren't that good either. If you start talking about team success,
But George Gervin also played 7 seasons though.
I
That's
guess.
the only thing. That's the only thing I'm going with. Like Malone's obviously not a bad pick, but it's just he only played 3 years in the 80s.
Yeah.
You would take Barkley over Malone?
In the 80s?
Yeah.
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 I
Barkley's
don't know.
in the 80s too. I got McHale, and his stats were probably the lesser of everyone's, but he also played on a deeper team.
Yeah, he won championships.
Yeah. But he was like a really integral part, but like everybody recognizes how good his post moves were. Like he's like a top 3 all-time post player.
And then you go to center. Center's between me and Choder. Elijah one's close, but the 80s.
I think Kareem's got it.
But I do think Hakeem was a beast. I think he's kind of like Jordan, where it's pretty much the same with Jordan. Moses and Kareem were like the 2 main bigs of that era, and you got Hakeem coming in the later years of that era.
So here, I'll throw out the stats. So Malone in the 80s was 24 and a half and 12 and a half. And then he was an NBA champ, finals MVP, 2-time MVP, and a 10-time All-Star. Kareem averaged 20 and 9, and he was a 5-time champ, an MVP, a 10-time All-Star, and a 4-time first team.
I think Malone is above Kareem in the 80s because the 80s,
I don't know.
the 70s are really Kareem's. Like that was when Kareem was the leader of his team. Honestly, it was more Magic in the 80s, or at least
it's like neck and neck with both of them.
Yeah, because Moses went to Houston and won a championship too.
Yeah,
and that was in the 80s, I think.
So you got there, and then 6-man, you got Dantley, you got Wilkins, and who'd you take, Choder?
Mark Aguirre. He was a 6-man on a championship team.
I think this was our most competitive draft.
I think it's like there's no
winner.
We could just
There's a debate, but I mean, I hope for the people who've gotten this far in the pod, they could actually go out and see what they think about this. I want to hear. So I would love to hear like opinions about which team that they would take.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I think that's enough, man. I think for episode 8, this was a good, really, really good conversation for both things that we had.
Yeah.
The perfect player, and then I mean, you even had this, which we're gonna continue next week by drafting the 90s. Hopefully,
start my big board now.
Start prepping.
35 players.
Choder's gonna have his 2000s big board ready for 2 weeks from now. I hope Ben can be here next week, man. It sucks that traffic messed that all up for him.
Shout out Ben.
Yeah, shout out Ben. Hopefully we'll have him back next week. But yeah, man, that's it for episode 8. Thank you guys for all listening and everything. You guys got anything else left to say to anybody?
No, sir. Not me.
Well, rest in peace to Terrence Clark.
Oh yeah. That's one of the saddest things I ever seen,
Yeah.
man. The day after he signed too.
We talk about the beginning.
The day after he signed too, man. That's super, super sad. I hope they do something to honor him at the draft.
They will.
Just have out there for his family, and especially for the Boston community, him being from Boston. I really hope that they're able to do something for him. That's super super sad. I think that he would have actually been a solid contributor, a solid role player in the league, for many years just by his game. I mean, I remember watching his stuff in high school and then him in Kentucky. Just I thought he was that. It's just insanely sad, man.
Yeah.
As you
Yeah.
said, man. Rest in peace, Terrence Clark. But that's it for this week of the Step Back. We'll be back next week. For Choder and for Marlon, I'm Rob. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch y'all soon.